Have you ever stopped to notice just how much you talk to yourself? That endless stream of thoughts, the constant analyzing, the internal debates, it never seems to stop. But what if I told you that silencing this inner voice could completely change your life? What if the very thoughts you believe are helping you navigate the world are actually holding you back? For most people, self-talk feels natural, even necessary. But few realize that it can be the biggest obstacle to mental clarity, inner peace, and true presence. Overthinking drains your energy, fuels anxiety, and keeps you trapped in an endless loop of worry and self-doubt. But when you stop talking to yourself, something incredible happens. Your mind becomes sharper, your emotions stabilize, and you begin to experience life in a whole new way. Curious about what happens when you silence the mental noise? Let's dive deep into the power of a quiet mind. Have you ever felt exhausted, even when you haven't done anything physically demanding, as if your mind has been running a marathon, and yet you're just sitting there? That's the weight of constant inner dialogue. It's like an invisible tax on your energy, a hidden cost that drains you without you even realizing it. We all talk to ourselves, some more than others. From replaying past conversations to predicting future scenarios, this inner chatter becomes so ingrained in our lives that we assume it's normal, even necessary. But what if it's actually working against you? Imagine trying to listen to a beautiful symphony, but there's a constant buzzing noise in your ears. No matter how hard you try to focus, that noise never stops. That's exactly what your inner dialogue is doing to your mind. It's drowning out the present moment. One of the biggest hidden costs of this mental noise is stress and anxiety. When you're constantly engaging with your thoughts, you're not just thinking, you're reacting. Your brain treats your thoughts like reality. If you're imagining worst-case scenarios, your body releases stress hormones as if those events are happening right now. Over time, this leads to chronic stress, restlessness, and even burnout. Then there's decision fatigue. Every thought you entertain, every debate you have with yourself, consumes mental energy. By the time you actually need to make a real decision, your mind is already exhausted. That's why by the end of the day, even choosing what to eat for dinner feels overwhelming. And let's not forget self-doubt and negativity. The more you talk to yourself, the more you reinforce certain beliefs, many of which aren't even true. You tell yourself you're not good enough, that you'll fail, that others are judging you. And the more you repeat these thoughts, the more power they have over you. But here's the good news. You don't have to live this way. You can take control, quiet the noise, and experience life in a whole new way. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. Are you ready to free your mind? Have you ever caught yourself replaying a past mistake over and over in your mind, like a song stuck on repeat? Or maybe you've imagined every possible worst-case scenario for an event that hasn't even happened yet. If so, you're not alone. Overthinking is like a mental prison, one where the bars are built from self-doubt, worry, and endless what-ifs. It drains our energy, paralyzes decision-making, and keeps us trapped in an endless loop of anxiety. But why does our brain do this? And more importantly, how can we break free? Our brains are wired for survival. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors had to anticipate danger constantly, whether it was a lurking predator or a shortage of food. This instinct to analyze and predict was useful then, but today, our threats aren't wild animals. They're deadlines, social pressures, and personal expectations. Yet our brain still reacts as if overthinking can somehow save us. We convince ourselves that if we just think hard enough, we'll find the perfect solution, avoid mistakes, and control every outcome. But the truth is, the more we analyze, the deeper we sink into the mental quicksand. One of the biggest traps of overthinking is the illusion of control. We believe that replaying the past will somehow change it, or that imagining every possible future will protect us from failure. But in reality, overthinking doesn't prevent bad things from happening. It only stops us from truly living in the present. The more we think, the more we hesitate. The more we hesitate, the less we act. And in the end, we lose precious time to a battle that exists only in our minds. The key to escaping this loop isn't thinking more, it's thinking less. It's learning to recognize when your mind is spiraling and redirecting your focus to the now. Overthinking feeds on uncertainty, but life itself is uncertain. The sooner we accept that, the lighter and freer our minds become. And in the next section, we'll explore exactly how to do that. So, are you ready to break the cycle? Imagine this. You're in a crowded room, dozens of voices talking over each other, all demanding your attention. It's overwhelming, right? Now, imagine trying to focus, think clearly, or even make a simple decision in that chaos. That's exactly what happens in your brain when your inner dialogue never stops. But what if I told you that silence, true mental silence, could unlock a whole new level of brain power? Science has proven that our brains consume massive amounts of energy processing thoughts. The more noise inside our heads, the harder it is for us to focus, be creative, or even feel at peace. Research from neuroscientists shows that moments of silence allow the brain to rest, reorganize, and function at its peak potential. It's not just about relaxation. Silence actually makes your brain smarter. One study from Duke University found that silence helps generate new brain cells in the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory and learning. That means the quieter your mind, the better your brain becomes at storing and processing information. Meanwhile, MRI scans have revealed that too much inner chatter overstimulates the amygdala, the part of the brain linked to stress and fear, making us more anxious, less productive, and emotionally drained. And here's the most fascinating part. Elite athletes, top-performing CEOs, and even Buddhist monks all use the power of silence to sharpen their focus and enhance mental clarity. The ability to quiet your mind isn't just a spiritual practice, it's a neurological upgrade. So, what happens when you stop talking to yourself and embrace the power of silence? Your brain rewires itself for better focus, deeper creativity, and increased emotional control. And in the next section, we'll uncover practical techniques to train your mind for this transformation. Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Imagine this. You're standing in front of a breathtaking sunset, the sky painted in fiery shades of orange and purple. It's a masterpiece of nature, but instead of soaking it in, your mind is racing. Did I send that email? What if I made a mistake? What should I eat for dinner? Suddenly the sunset is gone, and so is the moment. You were there, but not really there. This is what happens when we're trapped in our inner dialogue. Our thoughts pull us into the past or fling us into the future, but they rarely let us exist in the now. What if you could break free from that loop? What if you could experience life as it is without the endless noise in your head? When you stop talking to yourself internally, something incredible happens. You step into the present moment. You start noticing the little details, the cool breeze on your skin, the way the light dances on the leaves, the subtle rhythm of your own breath. Instead of thinking about life, you start living it. Scientific studies show that reducing internal chatter activates the brain's default mode network in a way that enhances awareness, creativity, and even emotional regulation. In other words, when you stop narrating every second of your life, your mind becomes sharper, clearer, and more peaceful. Athletes call this the flow state. Spiritual masters call it enlightenment. Whatever you name it, it's the same principle. True presence is a gateway to peak performance, emotional balance, and even deeper joy. When your mind is silent, your focus intensifies, your body relaxes, and you become fully engaged with whatever you're doing. The truth is, the most powerful moments in life don't need words. So the real question is, are you ready to experience them? Imagine sitting before an empty page, like eager to create something extraordinary. Yet your mind is overwhelmed. Self-doubt creeps in. Unfinished thoughts swirl, and distractions pull you away. What if it's not good enough? What if I fail? Before your creativity even takes its first breath, it's already suffocated. But what if the secret to unlocking boundless creativity wasn't in thinking more, but in thinking less? Our subconscious mind is a hidden vault of ideas, an endless source of imagination and solutions. It works silently, processing information faster than our conscious mind ever could. By drawing from past experiences, emotions, and unseen connections, it births new ideas effortlessly. Some of history's greatest visionaries, Einstein, Da Vinci, Tesla, found their genius not in relentless effort, but in moments of stillness. The harder we push for ideas, the more we block the very flow we seek. Have you ever noticed how the best ideas come to you in the shower, just before sleep, or while daydreaming? That is your subconscious at work, unshackled from the weight of overthinking. When we quiet the constant inner dialogue, we create space for real inspiration to emerge. Meditation, deep breathing, and mindful stillness help silence the conscious mind, allowing creativity to rise naturally. Science confirms this. Our brain reaches peak creativity not in forced focus, but in relaxed states. Stress suffocates inspiration, but stillness awakens it. So ask yourself, are you ready to let go of the noise and allow your subconscious to take the lead? Imagine standing at a crossroads, faced with a life-changing decision. Your mind races, weighing every possible outcome, overanalyzing each choice. What if I make the wrong move? What if I regret this later? The more you think, the more confused you become. You're trapped in a spiral of overthinking, unable to move forward. But what if I told you that the best decisions aren't made by thinking harder, but by thinking less? Our minds are constantly bombarded with information, distractions, and inner chatter. Every day we make thousands of choices, big and small, yet the noise in our heads often clouds our judgment. Studies show that an overactive mind leads to decision fatigue, making us more prone to stress, anxiety, and impulsive choices. The truth is, the wisest decisions come from a place of mental clarity, not chaos. Take the world's greatest leaders, strategists, and visionaries. They all understood the power of a quiet mind. From ancient philosophers to modern CEOs, those who mastered stillness made the sharpest, most calculated decisions. Why? Because when the mind is silent, intuition becomes louder. Gut feelings, once drowned out by mental noise, rise to the surface, guiding us toward the right path. Science backs this up. When we quiet our thoughts, through meditation, deep breathing, or simply pausing before acting, we engage the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thinking and problem-solving. In contrast, a stressed and overthinking mind triggers the amygdala, the brain's fear center, leading to rushed or emotionally driven decisions. So the next time you find yourself overthinking, stop, step back, breathe, let the noise settle. You'll be amazed at how much clarity emerges from the silence. The question is, are you ready to trust the wisdom of a quiet mind? Imagine walking through a beautiful forest, the golden sunlight filtering through the trees, the rustling leaves whispering in the wind, the distant chirping of birds. But instead of truly experiencing it, your mind is elsewhere. You're thinking about an unfinished task, replaying an awkward conversation, or worrying about the future. Your body is present, but your mind is trapped in endless chatter. Now imagine the same walk, but without the constant inner dialogue. No overanalyzing, no self-criticism, no mental noise, just pure experience. The colors seem richer, the sounds sharper, the air fresher. You don't just see the world, you feel it. This is the power of a silent mind. When we let go of constant narration, life unfolds in its raw, unfiltered beauty. Our inner voice is like a lens that distorts reality. It judges, categorizes, and filters everything based on past experiences and future fears. But when the mind is quiet, we experience life as it is, not as we think it should be. Imagine eating your favorite meal without distraction, savoring every bite, feeling the textures, tasting the layers of flavor, or listening to music without analyzing the lyrics, just feeling the rhythm and vibration in your body. Many spiritual traditions call this living in the present moment, a state where every second is rich with detail, unclouded by judgment. Scientists have found that mindfulness and silence can heighten perception, improve memory, and even reduce stress. It's no surprise that monks, meditators, and great thinkers throughout history have sought silence as a path to wisdom. So ask yourself, how much of life are you truly experiencing? And what could change if you silenced the voice in your head and just lived?